Well, hello guys, in this video we are talking about Motorola Radius GP1200, absolutely perfect radios if you like analog stuff. Now, for sure, I do know that there are people out there who despise digital things like DMR, Tantra, P25, what is that other thing, NXDN, I don't know, virus, C4, FM, I don't know. So bottom line, if you are into analog and you absolutely don't care about digital, you will be extremely happy if you get yourself a couple of those. Now, they are kind of popular in United States and little bit in Central Europe for a good reason. They are given to professional services and these radios are absolute bricks. There are pros and cons to that, like there is space inside for a very good speakers, audio from speakers is perfect, microphones are perfect. So when you're on repeater, on simplex, whatever you do, when you use these radios, other people will say that you have good audio, no doubt about that. I often compare that to some other professional radios, for example like this one. You cannot compare these small thingies with these big bricks. I mean, there is just something about these big Motorola cases that gives that like full audio. And also there is a 1 watt speaker in here. So absolutely cool professional radios. For radio amateur thingies they are cool, but for SHTF scenarios they are not, because as a radio amateur we like to mess around, we like to improve our radios, we like to experiment, new firmware, new channels, new zones. This is radio with zones. But for SHTF they are not good, because you cannot program them via keyboard, so there is no FPP possibility. Now lately Motorola started putting on the market DMR radios, analog radios with FPP capability. You need to, I think, unlock that option, but these things rarely you will find them with capacity to program over keyboard. Very, very rarely. So for radio amateurs, yes. For SHTF, no. Because if you look here, I was talking about that in one of the latest videos for SHTF thingies and radios. These proprietary connectors are big no-no. What you need is 3.5 and 2.5 type of connectors that you will find on most Baofeng, for example, radios. So you need additional cables, then maybe even some old machines for earlier versions of Motorola radios. These things can be programmed on Windows, but then again it depends about type of radio. So for radio amateur, yes. For SHTF, no. They are big, they are heavy. When you have them in jacket, you have just big bulk on yourself that is easily visible. So they're not really good for like secret operations, let's say, or something like that. But for police forces, they are very cool. And for securities, you know, the people who provide security for supermarkets and stuff like that, they are cool. I don't know about usage of these in a military, probably there are better solutions, but for normal police forces they are cool. When we talk about SHTF, you need something that is easily programmable without additional cables, something that is cheap, something that you can buy in bulk, something for what you don't need like software. For these guys to program you need the software, and that sucks, you know. Otherwise, if I'm gonna be honest, if I can get Motorola like these and they can be programmed over the keyboard, I will drop all my radios and go with that. But you know, rarely in a Motorola you will find into those kind of options. So when we talk about this version of Motorola radios, see how they look like, absolutely glorious plastic, the high quality build. Of course they are like 2 decades old, something like that, but they still hold. Okay, they did have a little bit of bitting on them, like marks and stuff, but they work perfectly when I have batteries for them. These batteries are wasted, like on both radios batteries are weak. So on this side you have like very cool PTT. Good stuff about Motorola and PTT is that this PTT is like a hidden. So well, in a sense. So when you're in when you have these in your jacket or pants or whatever, you cannot accidentally press these things. With Baofeng UV82 you will easily accidentally press PTT and some other versions, but this is why I like Motorola's, you know, just flat PTT and a strong one, so you cannot accidentally go into open mic situations. Couple of programmable buttons, volume on off, zones, ABC, the channel selector, and I think this is for encryption activation or something like that. So sometimes Motorola do have like inbuilt encryption in newer radios, and sometimes there are some boards that you can get in, solder or something like that. I don't know. So it's a little bit weird when we talk about voice inversion boards for these Motorola radios and other stuff. Like for example, this Vertex standard radio does have inbuilt voice inversion. Of course, voice inversion is not that hard to crack these days. Relatively easy, you can do that. I mean, it's same stuff as with weak DMR encryption. There are programs out there that can bust DMR basic and enhanced privacy, if I'm informed correctly. So to some degree, when people say that we are today more secure with DMR encryption, well, it depends from your perspective. For protecting your communication from average Joe, your DMR is fine, but generally it's not that good. Maybe with IS encryption the stuff are better, but I highly doubt that anything that is publicly available is that good. You know, average Joe, you can beat that dude, but I don't think about modern protocol that are in open circulation that they are so good. But anyway, we are talking about these things. So buy them if you like this type of radios, if you like analog stuff, definitely buy them. You can also get them for historical reasons. Audio absolutely perfect. You can mess around in a software. You can get programming cables from China, or you can, if you're in United States, you can just go out to your local dealer and try to get original cables and stuff like that. So generally, yes, you will be happy with these things. Also, Motorola GP300 is a perfect radio. Up till 16 channels. These guys do have, I think, 48 channels. There are versions with almost 255 or channels or something like that. I saw that on some radio on some website out there, but I think that these two can get 48 channels, and that's absolutely cool. I mean, in most cases you just need a couple of channels, nothing special. And this thing here, channel selector, is actually encoder, so you can fully rotate it. There is no lock when you reach 16 channels or something like that. You can just fully rotate it all around. I really like that option. Now, what about problems if these radios are half used? Are there any problems? Well, to be honest, yes, because you can easily, like when your radio is on, okay, like, and this thing is in your jacket, you can easily boost your volume while rubbing into a piece of clothing. So if you have like earbuds and accidentally you rotate this with a piece of your jacket or whatever, then you can probably, you know, damage your earring or something like that. So rarely that will happen with Motorola GP300, but with this one, if it's used a lot, it is possible, guys. It is possible. It happened to me like on a couple of occasions. And just pay attention about how big these things are, because they are not for, you know, some secret wearing. You know, if you think that you're going to hide these things inside of your jacket or pants, no, it's not really useful solution. Go with something smaller. But generally radios are absolutely good. And to be honest, CDs, there are a couple of belt clip variants, so I don't like this one. It's a little bit, I mean, it gets the job done. It is, I think, from Motorola GP300, if I'm maybe I'm wrong on that one, but it's not really good. But this is good, this one. I don't know is this original or not, but there is no way that you're going to lose this, so maybe you wanna pay attention about that. Unfortunately, I cannot show you how good audio on these are because batteries are wasted, but you can trust me on my word that when we talk about audio, these are perfect. Speakers perfect, microphone perfect. Drastical difference when you compare these to other radios. So get them for professional use, get them for radio amateur use, but don't get them for SHTF scenarios. Okay, to be honest, I have these because of historical reasons. I'm not using them that much because I have smaller radios, but you know, just I like these big bricks. And yet another thing, when you hook some other radios to be used as a hotspot, let me find that thing. For example, if you're using this one as a Vox activated hotspot, like you need to pass some DMR or ROIP stuff through these radios, there is a big difference when you listen that hotspot with these radios and some other smaller radios. These will give you absolutely perfect audio and some other radios will not. So when you're creating hotspot by professional, this one is a PMR, professional radios for hotspot, don't go with like a kids toys PMR, okay, because audio difference is drastical. So yeah, that was a little bit chit-chatting about these type of radios. I really love them, but to use them for radio amateur purposes around your belt or around the town, in your jacket, it's pretty much no. It depends how big you are. But to have them in a vehicle while you are working on a construction site, something like that, they're cool. On your tractor, you can just put these things and do your stuff in a tractor in a field and you will be happy. These things are glorious, okay? If you drop them in mud, pretty much nothing's going to happen to them. They are not waterproof, I think, but you know, classical Motorola bricks, they will get the job done. So yeah, a little bit of chit-chatting, good stuff. Unfortunately, I don't have batteries for these. So yeah, that's generally problem with half-used radios. And I have a question for you. If you do know how to activate FPP on this series of radios, on Jedi radios, please write it down in the comment section below, because I know that on YouTube there are a couple of dudes with Jedi radios with FPP activated, right? So, thank you for watching and see you next one. Ciao, ciao.